Okay, we just wanted to explain to you why Metasonix products are so expensive that people sit around on forums and complain about how expensive they are. That's because they're handmade in the United States. First of all, we'll start with the main board in a Wretch machine. As you can see, it's very complicated. It's got components underneath other components. It's so complicated. Very crowded board. It takes about 6 to 7 hours to stuff this board, just to this point. Just to this point so we can start testing it. Now what we have to do is put the tubes in the board. We've already put the chips into it. That alone takes a little while because you have to fold these potentiometers out of the way to get to them. It's a multi-layer assembly. It's like a sandwich. That's because it's necessary to do that in order to fit everything in. So we put in all the tubes. The parts alone that go into this board come to more than $500, just for the parts. Then I have to pay somebody $200 to assemble it, and then you have to do the final assembly and testing and so forth. But we'll show you that in a second. Now that it's assembled, quote unquote, what we have to do is take our test jig. This is a purpose-built tester specifically for this one job, testing Wretch main boards. Can't be used for anything else. So now that we have all the components and all the chips and all the tubes on this board, we can plug it into this assembly and test it. I need to put knobs on some of these switches in order to operate them. So what we have to do first is ensure that the power supply is working properly. And that the driver circuits are working properly. So we need to use a voltmeter to check into them to make sure that the LFOs are operating, for example, which they are. And we want to ensure that the envelope generators are working. That one's working. And that one's working. Then we have to try to preset the VCOs. So we have to turn down all of the modulation pots. People want lots of pots. They want lots of knobs to play with. So I give them lots of knobs to play with. So we have to adjust the offset and gain of these controls. So that when we power up the plate supplies, the VCOs will be somewhere near their normal adjustment range so that we can get them within tune. to go back and forth in order to set the span and offset on the two on the two VCO driver circuits. Now we do number 2. Okay, now we can turn on the plate supply and make sure things work. Need to check the plate voltages to make sure they're all there. It's necessary to check these things. You never know. So now we can plug in an amplifier and see if we get sound out of it. Turn down one oscillator and try the other one. Verify that the wave shaper circuit works. Set this to low C, and we go up. And we have to use capacitors to set the trigger points. So you need a box of assorted film capacitors. Try different values in order to get it close to a C, 2 octaves up.